Hello, BookTube. Hello, friends. Welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth, and it is August 1st, so it is time for me to tell you about the books that I read in the month of July. I'm going to break this up into two separate videos. In this video, I will do my summary and tell you how many I read of each genre, and I'm going to show you everything except the mysteries that I read. I managed to read or listen on audio to a total of 9 cozy mysteries for the month of July. And since 6 of those were for a specific Cozy Mystery Summer Challenge, I'm going to wrap that up in tomorrow's video and just go ahead and tell you about all the Cozy Mysteries that I read. Meanwhile, I want to tell you about all the other books that I read as well and tell you about another challenge that I have almost completed, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap that up in this video. It, again, is a challenge that runs for 2 months of the summer, and I'll tell you more about that as we go along. So for the month of July, I'm going to have to put my glasses on. I finished a total of 32 books. Only 2 of them were books that I had carried over from last month, and both of those were nonfiction, to make a total of 3 nonfiction books that I read or finished for the month. I already mentioned that I read a total of 9 mysteries. Then I read a total of 10 romances, and 7 of those 10 were Christian romances. And I read 3 books for book club. I know I only have 2 book clubs, but I read 1 for this month and then 2 for, I read 1 for July that we already discussed. And then I am caught up with August. I have already listened to both of the books that I need to read for the month of August. And, I usually tell you how many I read in print and how many I read in audio, and I neglected to do that. So 8 books were in print, and the rest were audio, which is a total of 24. Of the 8 books that I read in print, one of those was a children's storybook that I want to tell you about. I don't always count children's storybooks that I read to Emily, but this one's so adorable that I want to show it to you. And then another was a short story that is that's part of a series that I also finished in my Get Serious About Series challenge. So speaking of that challenge, I finished or caught up with 3 series on my list of 21 series in my hashtag Serious About Series challenge. And then also read 2 books for that are in series I'm currently reading that are not even on that list of 21. And then I also read book 2 in a trilogy that I am trying to finish this year. So I think that just about covers all of the categories. And a middle grade. I read 4 middle grade books. 2 of them are Newbery winners. 1 was a reread. And then 2 of them are Sunshine State books. And so let's just get to it. I'm not even going to tell you the 9 cozy mysteries that I read. You will just have to tune in tomorrow to see what those are. But the, the 3 nonfiction books that I read, plus 1 magazine. I've been reading one of these old Journey magazines every month until I finish that stack. So I'm happy that I got another one of those done. And then the 2 books that I had carried over from a previous month, one of them I've already mentioned to you. It's the Eat to Live diet or it's just called Eat to Live by Dr. Joel Fuhrman. And I am going to be following this diet at least for 6 weeks and see how it goes. There's a sample diet that goes for 1 week, and I'm going to follow that as exactly as I can for a kickstart, and then stick with it at least another 5 weeks and hopefully more, as you know, I will make that decision for sure as I go along, but I'm excited about it. My sister's been reading this as well, and she may not follow this diet exactly, but we've been weighing in with each other for a few weeks now, and I really need something specific like this to get me really going well. Now, I have a couple of food-related projects coming up that may interfere with this, but I'm not quite ready to start the sample diet yet. I've just been transitioning to more of a vegetarian, high-fiber diet, vegetables that are high in phytonutrients, which is what he talks about here. But at the same time, I'm also trying to clean out my cabinets, and we've been cleaning our cabinets and going through and just doing a combination. But I feel good about what I have done so far, and I think I'm going to be able to stick with this. And then also in regards to weight loss, I have been reading for a few months this Daily Word for Weight Loss, and the subtitle is Spiritual Guidance to Give You Courage on Your Journey, written and edited by Colleen, Zuck, and Elaine, Meyer. Now, I picked this up and I showed this before I had ever cracked it open. I did not know exactly what kind of book this was. I found this at a library book sale and I thought, oh, inspirational and it's weight loss, so why not give this a second look? And at the time when I picked it up, I had just finished a very inspirational, very Christ-centered devotional book that I very much enjoyed, and I plucked this off my shelf. I probably got this a couple of years ago at a library book sale, and down this way where you can't see as my shelves go farther, I've got a lot of nonfiction books, self-help, time management, decluttering. I hoard books on decluttering, as I've said before, and dietary books and things like that. So I found this down there. Well, and then right here on this shelf, I have some devotional books, but this was with the dietary books, and that's really more what it is. Well, it's not even really a dietary book. It does have inspirational words for weight loss, but it is not a Christ-centered devotional book. So as devotional books go, I would not rate it very highly, at least for me personally. It has I believe it's from a Unitarian standpoint, and that is not what, my personal theology that I believe in does not correlate exactly with Unitarian. So the theology of the devotionals and things did not line up exactly with my own personal beliefs, but still I was able to get some inspirational words for weight loss. There are scriptures in here from the Bible. It is just not a Christ-centered devotional, and so for that reason, it wasn't really what I was looking for, but I did read through it. I did enjoy the personal stories of the people who shared their testimonies and their personal walk through weight loss, and for that reason, I enjoyed reading it. But now that I'm done with this, I am going to go back to my shelf and look for more of a Christ-centered devotional book that will just steer me towards, a better relationship with Jesus Christ. And as a Christian, that is what I should be doing. So anyway, I will be probably putting this in a little free library or something, and passing it on to someone else, because it's not something that I would keep and read again. And then I read an organizing book that I picked up from our bookmobile. This is the complete book of home organization by Toni Hammersley, who has a website and Instagram page called A Bowl Full of Lemons, and it's a beautiful book with a lot of photography. It is it doesn't even have page numbers, but it is sorted out into zones from your in your home, and then each of the tips are numbered so that there are 166 different tips, and then there are challenges for each living space. And as a workbook, it's not as good as the one I'm reading right now by Cassandra Arson. That is one that you have to write in, and it is really working me through. It's taking me through the ringer with the challenges and things, and that's one that I'm still working on. But this was a very enjoyable book to read. I did enjoy the photography and the tips and things, so I'm glad that I read it, and I will be returning this to the bookmobile. So then let's see, what should we do next? Let's do the middle grade books next. I finished 4 middle grade books. One of them was a reread, and then there was one that I didn't get to that I had wanted to, but it just didn't happen. And now I'm trying to find, I think I'm missing one of them. I must have returned it to the library already. I think I did, but that's okay. One of them is one of the Newbery winners that I just talked about. I had it up here in my video that I did earlier last week, and it was The Island of the Blue Dolphins by Scott Odell, and that was a reread, or a re-listen, and I enjoyed that a lot. And the other Newbery winner that I listened to on audio in my car is Ginger Pie by Eleanor Estes. This is a Newbery winner from the 1950s, and I have a few more 1950s Newbery winners to read before I will be presenting that video for you. And then for my Sunshine State reading project, I had done a video earlier where I said that I may not read all of them this year. I may not read all 15 of them, but I did choose one that I for sure wanted to read, and then I chose one randomly, and then you guys chose some for me. So I did read the one that I most wanted to read, which is Bloom by Kenneth Oppel. Several of you read it with me. There are still threads on my Goodreads group if you'd like to read this. Basically, it's kind of a creepy horror story about plants that are taking over the world and eating people. They're, what's that kind of plant that, I can't even think, like a Venus flytrap type of thing. I know there's another word for it, but anyway, it was creepy, and I enjoyed it though. There is 2 more books in the series, and I'm gonna read those too. Then I also finished one of the books that you wanted me to read, which is Wildfire by Rodman Philbrick. This was very action-packed, very good, very intense. I very much enjoyed it. How many times can I say very? But I would recommend this. I thought it was great. It's a survival story about 2 kids who are caught in a wildfire. They were both at different summer camps, both missed their evacuation buses, and now they are just trying to survive. The other one that got the highest amount of points is The Unteachables by Gordon Korman. I had every plan of reading this one yesterday. It didn't happen. I barely got done with the books that I was currently reading that I wanted to finish, and so I am listening to this today. So this will count for the month of August. This is a library book, so I had really wanted to get it done in July so I could check it back in, but like I said, it didn't happen. I am enjoying this a lot. It's about a teacher who is ready for retirement. He is not putting anything into he's just biding his time, and he gets assigned the Unteachables, which is a special self-contained class of kids in middle school that are also just biding their time until they become the high school's problem. And it is their story of coming together and doing and what they do for this school year. So I'm only about half done with that, but I think it's going to be great. And then the one I had drawn out randomly, I did not get done, and so I'm going to return this to the library. This is Cleo Porter and the Body Electric by Jake Burt. This is kind of science fiction-y, so I'm still going to read it, but I'm going to save it for November when a few booktubers like Scott and Becky, the Bookish Bryants, are doing a science fiction readathon. And I've got a trilogy that I want to finish and read books 2 and 3 that are on my TBR for the year. So I'm going to read those, and then this one, and I think that'll be a lot of fun to read for the science fiction readathon that they do. So for now, that one's going to go back to the library. And that is it for the middle grade books that I read. I did read one YA book that I counted as one of my 10 romances. This is also part of my trilogy project. This is book 2 in the To All the Boys I've Loved Before trilogy by Jenny Han. It's called P.S. I Still Love You. I did not love this book. There was just way too much foul language. I don't remember the first book having any foul language. It was just cute and sweet. This one, there was just ugly words everywhere, and a lot more angst and more sex talk, and I just didn't enjoy it nearly as much as the first one. I am going to go ahead and read the third one. I've got it actually checked out right now. This third one used to be on Hoopla, I thought, but it's not anymore, and so just books 1 and 2. And I did find the third one on Scribd, so I'm going to be able to listen to that one as well. But anyway, I did finish this one. The other project that I was working on, or the other trilogy that I've been working on, is the Rats of Nim trilogy, and I'm on book 3, but I did not finish it. So I mentioned it, I think I showed it yesterday in my video, and so I'm still going to finish this trilogy and the Rats of Nim trilogy before I draw out another one. I do have some of them in my cup there, the ones that I don't have assigned to a particular month. And if I get either of those done probably if I get the Rats of Nim book done, I might go ahead and draw out another one during a Friday Reads just to see what my next one will be. So, since this one is part of my Get Serious About Series challenge, it's kind of a side challenge. Let me go on into my books that I finished for Get Serious About Series. And I did finish 3, I think, but now I don't see the other one. Oh, one of them's a mystery. So I'll show it to you, but I won't talk about it right now. I've caught up again with the Joanne Fluke, Hannah Swenson Baking Mysteries by reading Triple Chocolate Cheesecake Murder. So I will talk about that more in my next video. And then the other 2 that I finished for caught up with series. One of them is the Miss Julia series. I'm not sure if there's going to be any more Miss Julia books or not. It makes it sound like on Goodreads that this is the last one, Miss Julia Happily Ever After by Anne B. Ross. But I heard someone, or maybe someone commented that they had seen or heard her say that this is just the last one with this publisher. She is still going to write more Miss Julia. I hope she does, because this particular installment of the series is just as good, if not better, than all the rest of them. This was so great. I rated it 5 stars. I love Miss Julia, and I just loved this book. I thought it was really good. There is a lot of wedding things happening in this book, for a lot of various reasons. And so this book is wedding themed, and Miss Julia is in the middle of all of it, and it's just a lot of fun. So then the other book that I read to finish a series is book 4 in the Cemetery of Forgotten Books by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. This is book 4. Did I say that already? I think I did. I buddy read this with my friend Elizabeth Tyree, and we both very much enjoyed it. It was so good. I loved this one probably more than the rest of the series. I thought it was fantastic. I also read the short story that goes with this series. It's book 2.5, and I found it somewhere. Where did I find it? On Overdrive, of all places. I almost never find anything on Overdrive that I want to read, but you know, that I can't find somewhere else on audio or whatever. But I found the ebook of this on Overdrive, or not this, but the it's called Rose of Fire, and it's a little prequel story. It wasn't very long. I think it was less than 20 pages, and I'm happy now that I got that short story read as well as the last book, so now I have finished the series. This is a series that I would reread again. If you're not familiar with it, you may have heard of the first book, which is The Shadow of the Wind. And Beth and I have buddy read this entire series, and we have just really, really enjoyed it. I think since I have listened to, I think I read this one in print, and the rest I have listened to on audio. If I were to go back and read them again, I would like to just read them in print. I think they were just very, very good. And speaking of books that I read in print, I had 2 other buddy reads. I had this book, the Homestead Brides Collection. This is by various authors. Some of the stories were much better than others, and I read this with Bobby Sue Davis, and we both enjoyed the book. I think we both kind of agreed there were some that were just not that great, and some that were very good. I'm not sure where she weighs in on what she would rate the book or anything. I think I rated it a 4 overall, but very much enjoyed it. This is the first one of these Barber published books that I have read. I have probably 20 of these books now, and this is finally the first one that I have read. So thank you, Bobby, for holding me to the fire and getting me to read this book. I very much enjoyed our discussion. We chatted about it on Instagram through direct messaging, and it was a lot of fun. So then the other book that I buddy read was with Mandy Garrett of the channel The Night Owl, and we read book 8 called book 8 in Welcome to Tyler by Harlequin. They're various authors. This one is called Bachelor's Puzzle by Ginger Chambers. I think I liked this one better than Mandy did. She only rated it 2 or 3 stars, and I rated it 4 stars because A, it didn't have any graphic scenes, and B, it is about older protagonists. The romance is between two 50-year-olds, and neither of them have been married. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed seeing the dynamic of that. And then also the main female character had a sister who was really the antagonist of the story. And even though she was rude, mean, and hateful, I thought she was well written. And the story of their sister dynamic and their past and their present was very interesting, and I just enjoyed how that played out. And I would be very curious to see what happens with the sister in the future now that their lifestyle that they have been used to is going to be changing, since the romance of the one sister has happened now. So there's still 3 more books in the series. I don't know if the sister, she kind of started coming around a little bit at the end, and I'm just curious to know if she would continue to grow from some of her anger issues and things like that. So I don't know. It's interesting to contemplate. But anyway, we've been reading the series. It's about the fictitious town of Tyler, Wisconsin, and I think we're going to read one more, maybe more. She asked me if I wanted to go ahead and finish the series. Did I say there's 3 more? I think there's 4 more, because this is book 8. Yeah, so there's 4 more. There's 12 altogether. And I'm not sure. I have so much on my plan and my reading plan, but I am going to try to go ahead and read one more, I think, this month for August, and we'll just see how it goes from there. But anyway, while I am talking about Mandy, she did she's currently hosting a readathon, or a reading challenge, with another booktuber, Paul from Yankee Southerner, and they are doing the Jurassic Parkathon. So I had mentioned it earlier in the summer that I was going to try to participate, and I think I have got just about all of the challenges covered. So even though I'm not quite done showing you everything, let's see, what have I not shown you yet? I haven't shown you my book club books, and I haven't shown you one other read-along book. Let me show you those first, and then I want to tell you about the Jurassic Parkathon. So the first book I finished in the month was for Becca from Hicks Picks Books, read-along of The Masterpiece. I listened to this on audio, and I very much enjoyed it. This is Christian fiction, The Masterpiece by Francine Rivers, and I thought it was great. And then for my book club, we have already discussed The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This was one of my July books. I thought this was great. It was so compelling, so interesting, and we really had a good discussion about it. I'm not a huge fantasy reader, at least not, modern fantasy. Really, I'm just not a huge fantasy reader. I do enjoy some, and I wasn't sure if I was going to like this or not. There is some foul language in it, but I did enjoy the book. I really liked the concept, and I thought it was very thought-provoking. So then for August, these are my 2 books for the month of August. One I really enjoyed, and one I hated so much. And so I don't know which one to show you first. They always say, you want the bad news first or the good news. Let me show you the bad one. Not that it's bad. I just did not enjoy it. The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I liked The Night Circus okay, but I didn't love it. This was just, to sum it up into one word, really just boring. I could not get interested in it. There was a couple of scenes where things kind of started to get interesting, but then I would keep listening, and it finally, about halfway through, I just got to where I just didn't care at all. I did get through it, and I think I kind of know what happened, but I was just letting it play. I didn't listen to most of it in my car because the CDs, for some reason, were not cooperating with my car CD player. So I listened to them in the house while I was doing some craft projects and figuring out my August TBR and all that kind of stuff. But I just didn't love it. She does write very beautifully. It's very lyrical, but it's so slow-paced. The narrators just about put me to sleep. I think I might have dozed off a couple of times. They have wonderful voices, but more for like bedtime stories, really. And this just wasn't a book for me, and I did not enjoy it. On the other hand, for my mystery book club, this is not a mystery. It's really a psychological drama. I don't even think I would consider it a thriller, but it probably falls into that category. I listened to this just most all of it yesterday. I think I started the day before yesterday. And this is the best psychological drama that I have ever read. Not that I've read a lot. I haven't read very many. But I want to applaud this author for telling a really twisted story without really hardly any foul language at all. And it's pretty gritty. But the book is The Last Mrs. Parrish by Liv Constantine. And I'm telling you what, the people in here are messed up. But I thought this book was so interesting and so compelling that there were times when I was trying to finish up a couple of things. I had this on my phone, and then I was finishing up this cozy mystery both in my car and in my CD player after I finished Charlotte C. And so I was trying to juggle them both, and when I was, in my kitchen, I had the other one on when I was stationary, but then when I moved about the house, I would have this on. So I was so into this that when I get back to my kitchen that I was going to be there a little while, I didn't want to put it down to pick up the other one, but I knew in order to get them both done by the end of yesterday, then I would need to. And I did. I finished this at midnight. 12 a.m. I looked at my phone the minute I finished it, and it was 12 a.m. And I still had one other print book I was going to try to finish, but I had to give up on it. So it's fine. Anyway, I just thought this was so good. And I don't want to tell you much because really these kinds of books you need to go in blind. But it is, the first part is about a woman who is just, she's so entitled. She has lived her life up to this point. She's 20 something. She's lived her life where she's just had to work hard for everything and really wants to live a rich life. She wants to be rich. And so she pretty much just picks out this rich man she wants to marry and does what she has to do to get him. Never mind the fact that he's married with children. So that's kind of where it starts. But oh my goodness, it just goes from there. So anyway, I very much enjoyed that, and I'm looking forward to discussing it next, in a couple of weeks for book club. So that is everything for, that's everything that I read, I believe. So let me just show you what books fit into the prompts for the Jurassic Parkathon. So the Jurassic Parkathon is set up with 10 different prompts that are based on characters from, I don't know if these are from the Jurassic Park movie or book or both, because there's always differences. I have read the book, but it's been years, and it's even been years since I saw the movie, so I don't remember which of these characters are who, but it's fine. And then there are seven different dinosaurs, and I hope I pronounce all of them correctly. So the idea is you could pick the characters you want and the dinosaurs you want and build your own park. So I just, I didn't know which was which, so I just decided to see if I could just fill all of them with books that I've read. And I have finished, I believe I have finished all the prompts except 2 books that I'm currently reading will fit the last 2 prompts. So let's just go through these. I will link below Mandy's video where she talks about the prompts, and I wanted to just to let you know it is not too late to join in because this goes from July 1st to August 31st. So you've still got a whole month that you could do this readathon. And so the first challenge, the first person is Ian Malcolm, and you are to pick a book that you think is going to be 5 stars. Well, I was pretty sure going into it, now my books are all in jumble, that, where is it? That the Miss Julia book was going to be a 5-star book for me. I just now saw another book I didn't tell you about. I got to do that in a minute. I'll lay it on top so I don't forget. I knew, I was pretty sure that that the Miss Julia book was going to be a 5-star book. I just heard a weird noise. That was weird. I have a dog down here. I don't know if that was him or not. Anyway, the second book is Ellie Sattler, and you're to read a book based on friendship. So, here's another book I forgot to tell you about. One of the romances I read. Not one of the Christian romances, but this is a series that I've been reading. It's by Lori Wilde. It is The Welcome Home Garden Club, a Twilight, Texas novel. I think it's book 4. Yes, book 4. I had intended to read it in June, didn't get to it. Got it done in July. So, it does have a friend group. They are the Garden Club. It is a romance too, but you know, I think I can count that for that challenge. And then the next one is Alan Grant, Read a Dark Book. So I'm going to count The Starless Sea for that challenge. And then the next one is Lex Murphy, and you are to read a book with a yellow cover. So that's one of the ones I have not finished yet. I'm listening to this right now, The Unteachables by Gordon Korman. And then the next one is Tim Murphy, Read a Fantasy Book. So I read a few fantasy books, but I'm going to count The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue for that challenge. And then the next one is John Hammond, and you are to read a book about a business owner or a business manager. So I read two of the Cozy Mysteries I read are from the Cackleberry Club series. So I am going to count one of those. And we'll count Steak and Eggs. This is by Laura Childs, and the Cackleberry Club is a restaurant / gift shop, bookstore, and the ladies run it. So that counts for that. And then the next one is, let's see, Dr. Henry, and you are to read a diverse book. So another one of the books I read that is a mystery is Recipes for Love and Murder by Sally Andrew, and that is set in Africa and has a variety of characters, so I'm going to count that for that. I need to go check something real quick. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Emily had dropped a big stack of books. I knew I heard a crash. She's fine. She just dropped a big stack of books that she was carrying back and forth from her room to the living room. Okay, so number 8 is Dennis, and you are to read a 400-page book. So I'm going to count The Masterpiece for that challenge. And then the next one is Ray Arnold, and you are to read an action-filled book. So I'm going to count Wildfire by Rodman Philbrick. Showed you that one already. No, that's Bloom. Well, that one would work too. It's definitely action. But I think I'd rather count Wildfire. And then the last character is Robert Muldoon, and you are to read a book with a red cover. Well, I don't hardly have any books with red covers. This one would count kind of the back, but it's sort of orangey. And this one's too pink. But I do have one that I'm currently reading, and I thought I brought it in here. It is one from my TBR jar. Hey Cowboy, Want to Get Lucky. It's kind of predominantly red. I mean, red is the accent color. And so I think I can count that, and I'm not done with it yet. Okay, so then the dinosaurs. There are 7 of those. Brachiosaurus is to read a book with a green cover. And I think Mandy and I are both going to count this one because this cover is predominantly green. That is Bachelor's Puzzle by Ginger Chambers. And then the second dinosaur is Dilophosaurus, and that is to read a fast read. And I did read very quickly in about 3 hours on audio, The Island of the Blue Dolphins, right before I did my Newbery video regarding Newbery winners of the 1960s. And then the next one is Gallimimus. I hope that's right. And that is, the challenge there is to read a book set in a foreign country. So I think I'm going to count The Labyrinth of Spirits. This takes place in Spain. I also read, I realized now what category I didn't tell you about was all the Christian fiction. So I need to do that as soon as I'm done here, or as soon as I'm done with this challenge. But I read Monday Morning Faith by Laurie Copeland, and part of that is set in the U.S. and part of it is set in Papua New Guinea. And then, where am I? All right, Parasaurolophus, read a book with a brown cover. So that is where I'm going to count Bloom. It is definitely kind of browns and oranges. And then the next one is Triceratops, read a book with a 3-word title. This is one you will hear about in my Cozy Mystery video. Mainly, I want to tell you about how much I did not like it. This is Wild Goose Chase by Terry Thayer. And then T-Rex, the tallest book on your shelf. So, I The tallest book I own, well, fit on the shelf, but the tallest book that I read this month is another one that I was going to tell you about. This is the children's storybook that I read with Emily. We got this from the bookmobile. This is adorable. I think I did mention this in a Friday Reads video. This is Too Many Carrots by Katie Hudson. And I love this because this little rabbit is a carrot hoarder, basically. And he has collected so many carrots that he can't get in his house. So he continues to go from friend to friend, other little animals, and they invite him to stay with them. And he ends up destroying all of their houses because he's trying to bring too much stuff with him, too many carrots. And he finally realizes that carrots are meant for sharing, not collecting. They use the word collecting, not hoarding, but we know what they're talking about. And I just thought it was great. Definitely a reminder to me that I have things I can let go of, and, you know, it's just stuff and things that can be shared with other people rather than clogging up our living space. So I just very much enjoy this book, and it has some good life lessons for the adults who are reading to their children. And the next one is, the last one actually, is Velociraptor. Read a book that is under, this says 500 pages, but I thought it was under 250 pages. I don't know if I wrote that right. Yeah, I think I wrote this down wrong. Anyway, a book under 250 pages is also one of the cozy mysteries that I read. It was just a little bit under 250. I think it was like 244. And this is Unraveled Sleeve by Monica Ferris. So you've seen a tiny glance at some of the cozy mysteries that I read, and I'm looking forward to telling you more about those books and those series in my next video. But let me real quick, before I go, tell you about the Christian fiction and romances that I read. So I already showed you The Masterpiece. That was the first book that I read. This is a romance. It's about an artist and his assistant, and it's a Christian book, but neither of these people are, I don't think either of them are Christians when the book starts out. One of them has been, one of them maybe, but one of them definitely isn't. So anyway, it goes from there. It is, it's just really good. I enjoyed it. And it has kind of an art theme. So for my author binge project that I didn't finish in June, I decided to not do any new authors in July, but to finish what I didn't get done in the month of June. So I had two more standalones to read by Lori Copeland. Monday Morning Faith, which I already mentioned. This is about a woman who goes on a mission trip with the man that she is dating, and things that happen from there. He's a doctor, and he invites her to go along, and they're with a group that are working in Papua New Guinea. And then Roses Will Bloom Again by Lori Copeland is about a woman who has been estranged from her sister for many years, and her sister dies, so she goes home to take care of things and ends up running into her childhood sweetheart, and goes from there. Also a Christian book. And then I finished books 2 and 3 in the Tucker Mills trilogy. This is a historical trilogy by Lori Wick. The first book is Moonlight on the Mill Pond, and then the second book, I believe the second one is Just Above a Whisper, and the third one is Leave a Candle Burning. These are just beautiful covers. Very, very pretty. And then I did mention, I'm trying to see, because I had at least 7 Christian fiction. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What was the 7th one? I don't remember. I know I had 7. Anyway, no big deal. That's enough. My battery's running low, and I think I've already gone over the time that I thought I would for this video. So that is all for this portion of my July wrap-up, and I hope you will come back tomorrow to hear about the cozy mysteries that I have read in the month of July as well, and also the Cozy Mystery Summer Challenge that I participated in. you can also still jump in on that because it goes until the last day of summer, and it's just a 6-book challenge. So I'll tell you about that in my next video. Meanwhile, I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.